Pecan pie is one of the most fattening foods on planet Earth. According to the Daily Meal, just one slice alone is over 23 grams of fat. That's already a quarter of a day's worth of fat for a guy of my height and weight. Which is exactly why I'm eating not just one slice, but an entire pecan pie for breakfast. Join me on this epic calorie adventure as I spend the next 24 hours eating every food on the Daily Meal's The 13 Most Fattening Foods on Earth list. My pre-challenge weight, 167.1 pounds. Now, before I dive into all the food, I should probably let you all know that the recommended daily allowance of fat for a guy of my height and weight is around 80 grams per day. As I progress through this challenge, I'm going to be keeping track of how many days worth of fat I'm putting into my body. The first item on the list, chicken fried steak with gravy. I could have made some myself, but I decided to order some from Denny's. It was looking pretty good, along with the onion rings and garlic bread that it came with. Ribs were next up on the list. The article advises against eating a full slab of beef ribs, so I decided to get a full slab of baby back ribs instead. Next up on the list, poutine. But not a pathetically small bowl of poutine like this one. I made a giant plate for myself. Remember the pecan pie? 23 grams of fat per slice just wasn't gonna cut it. Who eats just one slice of pie anyways? Certainly not me. I picked up a fresh pecan pie for this meal. And just like that, it was time for the challenge to begin.
Alright everybody, it is time to get this food challenge officially started. I'm giving myself 24 hours to eat the most fattening foods in the entire world. I gotta say everyone, I have no idea how this challenge is gonna go because I've never actually tried to spend 24 hours eating incredibly high fat foods, so anything could happen in this challenge. There's not really much else for me to say everyone. I'm hungry and I'm ready to get meal number 1 officially started. Let's do this. I think I'm gonna start with the ribs first. Ribs. I probably need a paper towel. All right, everybody, it's time to get this challenge started in 3, 2, and 1. 24 hours has begun.
The first bite of ribs was absolutely amazing. Baby back ribs are one of my favorite things in the entire world to eat, which is why I decided to start with them for meal number 1. I was enjoying every bite of these ribs.
All right, getting our way through meal number 1, I gotta say, these ribs are absolutely sensational. I don't get to eat ribs very often, but when I do, I most certainly enjoy them. Where are my ribs people at? Comment down below.
With the combination of the sweet and smoky barbecue sauce and the tenderness of the rib meat, this was one of the best racks of ribs I had ever eaten in my entire life. I would eat ribs much more often in my food challenges if they weren't so messy.
Man, I love ribs, but every time I eat them, I feel like I need to take a shower for like 2 weeks afterwards.
After enjoying the rest of the ribs, it was time to move on to the next item in the challenge.
All right, ribs are down. Those were absolutely amazing. Now, I'm gonna work my way over to this poutine right here, or I actually should pronounce it properly. It's poutine. I know a lot of my Canadian subscribers are gonna look at what I've created and just shake their heads at me, but you know what? I tried my best.
Sometimes it's just more practical to, well, just use your hands.
Those are tasty.
As I got into the poutine, I could already feel the sodium catching up with me.
Goodness, I feel like the sodium train has already paid me a visit. Don't worry, it's all gravy.
After my pathetic attempt at a joke, I carried on with the rest of the poutine.
Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional idiot. Next, it's time for the chicken fried steak. Ooh. That was good.
Not only was this meal heavy on the fat, but it was also heavy on the protein. I fully realized this once I was halfway through the chicken fried steak. But regardless, I carried on.
Chicken fried steak is down. Looks like we're about 19 minutes and 47 seconds into the challenge. Making good progress so far. Now it's time to get to our onion rings.
Forget French fries. When it comes down to sides, onion rings are my go-to. But onion rings and ranch dressing, that's a flavor explosion just waiting to happen. Another flavor explosion, ketchup, ranch, and onion rings. Seriously, if you haven't tried it yet, give it a shot. Your taste buds will be very happy, just like mine were.
Okay.
I finished off the onion rings and moved to the garlic bread.
Wait for the crunch, wait for the crunch, wait for the crunch. That was really anticlimactic. Anticlimactic? Whatever.
Even though this was the worst garlic bread I've ever had in my life, I finished it off anyways.
Now I've made it to the legendary pecan pie. I've always been a big fan of pecan pie, along with apple pie. Comment down below what your favorite pie flavor is. While you do that, I'm gonna get to this pecan pie. W-O-W.
The first few bites of the pecan pie were tasty, but after finishing the first quarter, the realization hit me.
pie is amazing, but goodness, it is dense.
Thankfully, I had a flavor combination I've been waiting to try.
Just kidding, I'm not gonna do that. But I will do something else. I feel like this pie just needs to be jazzed up just a little bit. I know I always say this in pretty much every calorie challenge I do, but I'm most definitely gonna be regretting this tomorrow, 100%. But oh well.
The addition of the ice cream was everything I needed, because the rest of this 3,000 calorie pecan pie went down easy. In just over 33 minutes, I had completed meal number 1.
Looks like that took us about 33 minutes and 20 seconds to do. Meal number 1 is officially complete.
Meal number 1, complete. Total fat consumed, 539 grams, 6.7 days worth. Total calories consumed so far, 8,822. The next item on the list, carnival fare. Now, I have absolutely no idea what those are, but when I see the word carnival fare, the first thing that pops in my mind are corn dogs. I made the first plate with a side of ketchup. I made the second plate with a side of honey for a nice sweet and savory combo. The next item on the list, sausage. And given that this was going to be the first meal of the day, I got some breakfast sausage. After the sausage, it was time for the next item on the list. Nuts. I could have gone for a handful of nuts, but I decided on a 1-pound bag of mixed nuts instead, along with a can of Blue Diamond honey roasted almonds. To wash it all down, I decided to make some chocolate milk with some heavy whipping cream, cocoa powder, and sugar.
I gotta say, everyone, I am hyped for this meal because corn dogs have always had a special place in my heart. I've never tried them with honey though, so I'm very curious to see how those taste. I am getting meal number 2 started a bit later than I envisioned. We're almost at the 16-hour mark. Just to spice things up for this meal, I'm gonna add a challenge within this challenge. I'm gonna have a random number generator with numbers 1 through 30. And whatever number that generator chooses is the time limit for this meal. And if I can take down all this food within that time limit, then all the food for the next meal is gonna come from my favorite food spots. But if I can't take everything down within the time limit, then that food has to come only from my least favorite food spots. When you all see what I have to eat for the next meal, you'll understand why I really wanna get all this food down within the time limit. All right, so it looks like I have 20 minutes to take down everything. It's time to get meal number 2 officially started. By the way, I have no idea how this chocolate heavy whipping cream milk is going to taste. Hopefully it tastes like chocolate ice cream. I'm gonna start with my sausage. Kind of feels odd to say it like that. Okay, whatever. 3, 2, and 1.
The sausage was good, but the chocolate milk tasted 1,000 times better.
That is tasty.
I made good use of it as I took down the breakfast sausage.
Sausages are down. We're about 3 minutes and 44 seconds in. Now I'm gonna head on over to my corn dogs. It's been so long since I've had a corn dog.
The best part about these corn dogs was that they were crispy on the outside, mainly because I chose to air fry them prior to this meal. The level of crunch was unreal. I finished off the first plate and moved on to the rest of the meal.
That was absolutely amazing. Obviously, I like corn dogs. Looks like we're about 7 minutes and 43 seconds in. Next, it's time to head on over to our sweet corn dogs. Never tried a corn dog and honey before. Let's see how it's gonna taste.
Honey and corn dogs may seem like a really strange combo, but I am so glad I tried it. This was one of the best sweet and savory combinations I've ever had.
Man, one of the tastiest combinations. All right, everybody, well, we are 12 minutes in to this meal. We've got 8 minutes left. Time to push it.
I finished off the corn dogs with 6.5 minutes remaining.
Looks like we have about 6.5 minutes left. Time to get to our nuts. Where are my nuts people at? Just forget that I said that, actually.
With less than 6 minutes remaining, my confidence began to slowly disappear.
Excuse me.
But I forced down as many nuts as I could.
Well, everybody, we're at 17 minutes. And it's very clear to me that I'm not very good at eating nuts fast. That's true. 2 minutes left.
Unfortunately, the nuts defeated me.
Well, everybody, failed to take all this down within the time limit.
The next meal was going to be rough, but I put it out of my mind and carried on.
I'll pick that up later. Our mixed nuts are down. Now it's time to head on over to a favorite of mine. We have the honey roasted almonds. Shout out to Blue Diamond for making really good almonds. I don't know what that was, but those are fire. Since I'm eating a massive amount of nuts, I feel like I should point out that the challenge for this week was actually gonna be me attempting to eat as many jars of peanut butter as possible in a day. But I chose this instead. If you wanna see that in a future video, comment a nut emoji down below.
I finished off the rest of the almonds and meal number 2 was complete.
So it looks like I have about 7.5 hours left in this 24-hour challenge.
Meal number 2 complete. Total fat consumed so far, 1,136 grams, 14 days worth. Total calories consumed so far, 16,803. The next item on the list, the tuna melt. Unfortunately, there's only 2 places in my area that serve tuna melts, Panera and Subway. Now, I happen to be a huge fan of Panera, so I knew exactly where I needed to go. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of controversy about Subway's tuna not being real tuna lately. So let's just say I was a little disturbed as I watched the employee make my tuna subs. I got my sandwiches along with some other goodies, and it was time to get meal 3 started.
So it looks like I have just over 4 hours left. I have one more stop to make after this. So without further ado, everybody, let's get to it. Lines up.
It had been a long time since I'd had Subway's tuna, so I wasn't sure what to expect. The taste was pretty overpowering.
There's really not much else for me to say. This is just like a very rich sandwich.
The mayonnaise was practically falling out of the back of the sandwich, but I carried on anyways.
Wow. Like everyone, there's a lot of controversy right now about Subway's tuna, and I just gotta say, it tastes like tuna to me. That's pretty much all I have to say about that.
I thought the first sandwich was heavy, but it was nothing compared to the second one.
All right, the first sub is down. Oh my goodness, Subway. Wow. Wait for the crunch, wait for the crunch. So much better.
By this point, the texture was starting to get to me, so I decided to change things up.
All I gotta say is thank goodness for Lay's potato chips.
The much-needed crunchiness from the chips helped me get this last sandwich down.
Our 2 subs are down, but here's the deal, everyone. It's a firm belief of mine that you cannot go to Subway and not get the best thing on the menu, their delicious cookies. So good. And just like that, now our Subway has been complete.
Meal number 3, complete. Total fat consumed, 1,332 grams, 16 days worth. Total calories consumed, 19,054. The next item on the list, the iconic cheeseburger. Now, I love cheeseburgers, but when it comes down to burger spots, Five Guys isn't one of my favorites. I picked up my Five Guys order and took it home for meal number 3.5.
$42 for 4 burgers. Sounds about right for Five Guys. So I have 1 regular cheeseburger, 1 bacon cheeseburger, and 2 little cheeseburgers. Now it's time for some Five Guys. Start off with the little cheeseburger first. That's not bad.
The first few bites of this burger were pretty fantastic, but eventually it needed some wow sauce. With the addition of the wow sauce, it got my seal of approval.
I know I'm gonna get a lot of people in the comments going, Eric, how can you not like Five Guys? It's just that I'm a member of Team In-N-Out.
I'm also a member of Team Never Full. You can get a Team Never Full t-shirt for yourself by visiting Erik the Electric Shop. Link in bio.
Comment down below, are you Team In-N-Out or are you Team Five Guys?
The next meal was going to be the highest fat meal of the entire challenge.
Now it's time for the bacon cheeseburger. Excuse me.
And with how I felt here, I was starting to worry that I'd actually be able to complete it.
Well, the final cheeseburger is done.
Regardless, meal 3.5 was complete. Total fat consumed, 1,566 grams, 19 days worth. Total calories consumed so far, 22,910. The next item up on the list, steak. I went out to the store and bought 2 ribeye steaks. I started off by seasoning them with salt and pepper. When I threw them on the grill, I remembered something from the article. Apparently, some steakhouses drench their steaks in butter before sending them out to the table, which apparently adds more artery clogging goodness. So that's exactly what I decided to do. To add on to the gastrointestinal massacre already going on inside of my body, it was time for the next item, fondue. I've never had fondue before, so this was going to be interesting. I threw it in the oven for a few minutes, and the final result was very cheesy. Before I move on to the next item, I need to issue a warning. If you have a sensitive stomach, or you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you may want to skip over the next portion of this video. The next item on the list is called foie gras, Foie gras is duck liver that's been fattened by gavage. Gavage means force feeding. The method of force feeding the ducks is controversial because they're overfed much more food than what they normally eat in the wild. Over the years, many countries and states have made foie gras illegal to consume. And my state of California is one of them. And upon reading the article a bit closer, I realized that foie gras only contains 44 grams of fat per 100 gram serving. You know what contains more fat per 100 gram serving? Butter. Butter contains 81 grams of fat per 100 gram serving. But eating straight up butter would just be too basic. So I busted out the oil and some batter and decided to make this meal a little extra American by deep frying the butter. I spent the next few minutes deep frying all my butter and decided to top it off with some sweetness, aka powdered sugar. With over 2,000 calories on this plate, this was going to be interesting.
All right, everybody, it's time to get meal number 4 officially started. Listen, everyone, I know I have like 33 minutes left, but I just have to point out, as of filming this video, the Electric Empire has reached 2 million subscribers. I just wanted to take a few seconds to tell you all how much I love all of you and how much I appreciate all of you.
And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, go ahead and drop a subscribe if you haven't already.
I've got a big video planned for 2 million, so stay tuned for it. Now, everyone, it's time for meal number 4. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with the steak. I'm gonna eat this like a savage because cutting it's just gonna take too much time. 3, 2, 1, boom.
The first bite of this steak was a flavor overload.
That is a juicy steak.
But with a half hour left in the challenge, I needed to focus on getting calories down so that I can move on to dessert.
All I'm gonna say is that this is one of the tastiest steaks I've ever cooked in my entire life. All right, the steak is down with about 27 minutes left. Now I'm gonna get on over to this fondue. Ooh, oh my goodness, just look at that cheese pull, everybody. Oh my goodness, did you see that? Cue the bow chicka wow 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 music. Oh my goodness, that is sensational.
Yep, definitely making this again at some point.
Everyone, that is gonna get a W. Oh, W moment. Oh my goodness.
The first few bites were delicious, but this cheese was so thick that my crackers started to break every time I tried to dip them into it. So with a few minutes left, I had to start eating it straight, which was a suitable strategy at first, but eventually the heaviness caught up with me.
Everyone, this is some dense cheese. Goodness.
I went back to using my crackers just to add a different texture to the mix, but eventually the sliminess of the cheese started to make me nauseous.
Looks like I have about 20 minutes left. And just for the sake of my digestive system, I'm gonna, put that off over there. Because I have to get to something that you're probably shaking your heads at, but I wasn't gonna eat butter straight. I mean, I'm good with eating cheese straight, but eating butter straight was just not gonna happen. So I decided to make some delicious, tasty, fried butter. Here we go.
Another 10 out of 10. This fried butter was Crunch City.
I have no words. This is something you eat once in your life and you don't ever eat again. All right, everybody, well, our fried butter is down. It looks like, everybody, we have about 15 and a half minutes left, and I have one more item left to eat.
Meal number 4, incomplete. Total fat consumed for the challenge, 1,979 grams, 24 days worth. Total calories consumed so far, 29,688. The next item on the list, super premium ice cream. And according to the article, super premium ice cream is sold by Ben & Jerry's. So while I was shopping for the last meal, I picked up some pints of Ben & Jerry's. Just 1 pint of Ben & Jerry's has 98 grams of fat. So I decided 5 pints total was gonna be great for dessert. I only had a few minutes left in this challenge.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be starting with one of my favorite Ben & Jerry's pints of all time, the Netflix and chill flavor. That's the inside look right there. Yes, this is how I eat ice cream around here.
The first bite of ice cream was fantastic, and then it hit me.
Oh, brain freeze. Oh.
To push past the brain freeze, I made use of my warm Mountain Dew off to the side.
You guys gotta comment down below with what your favorite Ben & Jerry's flavor is. I haven't even gotten to mine yet. All right, everybody, well, we have about 10 minutes left. Final push to get calories in. Let's try this one out. This is the everything but the, oh. I just gotta point out the elephant in the room. I'm just doing this just because the ice cream is really still frozen. Oh man, not good.
I made quick work of this pint and only had a few minutes remaining.
I feel like my blood type is literally a stick of butter right now. You know what, actually, speaking of butter, if you're all still with the flow of the video right now, why don't you go ahead and drop a butter emoji down below in the comments. 5 minutes left. actually gonna eat this pint like a civilized human being. Now it's time for me to get to my favorite Ben & Jerry's pint of all time, the legendary peanut butter cup.
With only a few minutes left, I had one of the most unfortunate things happen.
Well, that's unfortunate. There is literally nothing better than that feeling that you get when you see a tasty chunk of Reese's peanut butter cup right in the middle of your Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I have 2 minutes left.
And with 2 minutes left, I was able to get the last pint of ice cream down, and the 24 hours was up.
The 24 hours has officially been completed.
I may not have been able to take down all the pints of ice cream, but I still consumed all the items on the list, and consumed about 28 days worth of fat, along with 33,000 plus calories. Finally, it was time for my post-challenge weigh-in. I stepped on the scale weighing 193.5 pounds. That's a total gain of 26.4 pounds. My post-challenge physique was equally as shocking. But with my diet and exercise routine, I'll be back on track like usual. If you're curious what that looks like, go check that out next. I'll have a video breaking all of that down up on your screen for you to enjoy, along with my last calorie challenge. If you enjoyed this calorie challenge and want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and I'll see you all in the next calorie challenge.